Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and for the first time ever on the Ryan118 YouTube channel, welcome to a match preview for the knockout rounds of the UEFA Champions League. A massive week for Celtic, and a week which has the potential to provide one of the biggest surprises in the modern history of Celtic Football Club. Admittedly, not an easy task. We have a huge job ahead of us against Bayern, but where's the fun if you don't have optimism? So, let's talk about that. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated as we try and get towards 50,000 subscribers before the end of the season. Go down below, hit both those buttons. It's absolutely free. We're here for one of the biggest, if not the biggest, match preview that I have ever done on this channel. One that could ultimately leave us with a crushed feeling of despair, but one that promises something very, very exciting. So Bayern Munich, one of the biggest clubs in world football, will make the journey to Celtic Park on Wednesday night as we take on the German Giants in the playoff round of the UEFA Champions League. A side who you would expect to have seen finish in that top 8, but nonetheless drifted just outside, which means Celtic had the pleasure of drawing them in this round. You would have liked an easier game, let's be honest. Let's just get that out of the way straight away. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I would have loved to avoid Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, but here we are. We had to face one of them, and I think out of the two, you probably got the one that was marginally better. Real Madrid, that monstrous European side who have won so many of the last Champions League titles. Bayern Munich are a side who've been finding their footing again under Vincent Kompany this past season. So you're definitely preferring them over Real Madrid, but it's a tough game. It's a game which Celtic are quite rightly labelled massive underdogs. I don't think anybody has a realistic expectation of us pulling off the impossible in this tie, but what we do want to see is a challenge from Celtic, and what we want to see is a Celtic side which has impressed us all season continue to impress. We want to put the European disappointments behind us and give us something of a promise of potential to move forward with. And whether that takes us into next season or by a miracle the next round, we want something to believe in, and I think that's what this tie is going to be all about. So we've got so much to talk about. Of course, we've got to talk about the opposition themselves. Oh, what a week it's going to be. Celtic Park first, I think, actually works to our advantage. Why do I say that Celtic Park first is an advantage? Usually with these sorts of games, you want to get the away leg out the way, and you want to get the job done at Celtic Park, and you want to know what you need to do. But I think when you're playing a club the size of Bayern Munich, that's all pretty irrelevant. Both ties, you're massive underdogs, and I'd rather try and rough them up a wee bit and put them under pressure by getting a result at Celtic Park before going to the Allianz. Because, put it this way, if we go over to Germany and lose 3-4-0 in the first leg, you're coming back to Celtic Park, number one, with no atmosphere in the stadium because you know you're out, and number two, just with no chances of going through. So to have that home leg at Celtic Park first, I think is massive for us. I think it's huge, and it's something that's kind of went under the radar in the preparation for this game. So for once, I think it's actually beneficial having the home leg if we can walk away with a positive result, whether that be a win, a draw, or even just a 1-goal loss. You know, you're going over to Germany with the thought of a miracle could happen. So I think it's good that we have this home leg first. I'm a big fan of it, and I mean, the last time Bayern Munich came to Celtic Park, we done pretty well. The last time we welcomed Bayern Munich to Celtic Park, of course, it finished 2-1 on the night to the then German champions. They were a very good side at that time and had a very good players, which they do now, but I think they were a much better team, if anything. And we took them right to the wire. We were so unlucky on the night, and if we can repeat that sort of performance, I think we've got every chance of winning. I really do. So I'm going into this game feeling optimistic. I am. And I think we all should. Because if we aren't, then what's the point? I know we can sit here and go, oh, we're out. It's Bayern. We have no chance. But, you know, that's no way to treat a game like this. 10 minutes into the game, I might be saying different. But we've showed against some of the big boys in Europe this season that we can hang. Of course, one of the other German big boys we didn't necessarily hang, but no, I like our chances. I do. I think that we have an exciting team and a good starting 11 that can do dangerous things to Bayern Munich. And the manager seemed full of confidence today at his press conference. So, yeah, let's talk about what we said going into this game. We'll preview the opposition, and I'll give you my starting 11 thoughts. One of the things that was covered at today's press conference, and one of the things we should probably cover in this video, was that huge announcement surrounding Dyson Maeda and his lifted suspension for tomorrow night's game. Of course, originally he was scheduled to be out of this game, and now he can play, which brought a huge smile to my face if you watched the video late last night. But in case you missed that video, here was the tweet that Celtic put up, which broke the internet around 25 to 9 last night, saying that today Celtic could confirm that they had successfully appealed Dyson Maeda's 2-match suspension. The original suspension has been reduced to 1 match, meaning that Dyson Maeda is available to play Wednesday night at Celtic Park. Brendan Rodgers called that a great bit of news at his press conference. He was delighted about that news and talked about his involvement in the game. I think we can all admit that we have a much better chance against Bayern with Dyson Maeda in the side. I'm not saying that him alone makes it very probable that Celtic win this game, but it increases our chances of having a shot at victory. So I'm delighted to have him there. It's a no-brainer that he starts in this game, and it was a 1-match ban. It should have been a 1-match ban anyway. It was so harsh that it was 2 games. Other than that, though, Brendan Rodgers saying he's more than up for the challenge tomorrow night at Celtic Park. Here was some of his comments about the challenge we face, saying that we've proven already in the first season here that elements in our game are making progress. We are now playing one of the teams who will see themselves as one of the favourites for the competition, and we look to test ourselves and measure ourselves against a brilliant team. Bayern are one of the giants of Europe. They really are football royalty with what they've achieved over the years at this level, and I know with our game we mix up the basics, our running, our physicality that we've improved on. I think we can do that. And with the energy and support behind us, anything is possible in the game. He is very excited about the home advantage, saying that it's nice to have this challenge. We're looking forward to it. And, you know, we just need to have that optimism shared without the stadium tomorrow night. I think the crowd needs to be behind the team from minute 1 to minute 90. We need to make a lot of noise. But Rodgers seems confident. Callum McGregor, who spoke to the press as well, seems very confident. We're in a good place. Dyson Maeda himself has brought a huge lift to the support coming into this game after the news of his ban being uplifted. So, yeah, I am buzzing. I am absolutely buzzing. It's a match preview. We need to talk about the opposition and preview them as a side. Bayern Munich. I mean, what do I need to tell you that isn't already out there in regards to a club that size? Going under a new direction with Vincent Kompany this season, very much on their way to reclaiming that Bundesliga title, which they shockingly lost last year. It was a disaster of a season last time out for them, but they are in recovery. They've only lost 1 league game so far this season, but there's definitely frailties in their game despite being top of the league by 8 points as things stand. I think there's frailties there that Celtic can focus on, and if we've done our homework properly, well, the evidence suggests that Celtic can hurt them. They really can. As I mentioned, top of the Bundesliga right now and doing pretty well, but in the Champions League they slipped up on a couple of occasions, and most prominently slipped up against Feyenoord in matchday 7 of the competition, where they took a tanking to them. 3-0 it finished on the night, and I've said this before on the channel, but if you watched that game, you will have seen that Bayern were very much dominant, very much should have won the game with the chances they created. But Feyenoord took advantage in the correct moments, and they took advantage in the right areas. The game right there is all the homework we need to go and focus on where Bayern will be weak. And I think they've got plenty of areas in that team where they're weak. As a guy who loves the Bundesliga and tries to keep up with it as much as I can, I've watched them over the last couple of years, and I've seen players who I don't think are necessarily Bayern Munich standard. I think attacking-wise, you know, they're unbelievable. You know, the fact they've got Harry Kane, who's arguably the best striker in the world, the fact they've got Jamal Musiala and all these other guys, I think they have a fantastic attacking team. But defensively, I think there's areas that Celtic can take real advantage of them. Now, it's not confirmed what back four we're going to face tomorrow night. They have options, of course, with Alphonso Davies, Rafa Guerreiro, Upamecano, Eric Dyer. But a couple of those names that I mentioned there, I feel are players who are, you know, got dodgy moments in them. We watched Eric Dyer in the Premier League for Tottenham Hotspur for years, and he can be a bit of a bomb scare. Upamecano is famously one of the most unreliable centre-backs in Germany. And he's made plenty of mistakes in his time there. I feel like he's one of those players that every time you stick on the telly to watch Bayern, he has a stinker. Rafa Guerreiro is a player who I feel is perhaps past his best and is lacking that bit of pace. But generally speaking, I think that this is a Bayern side, which defensively Celtic can hurt with their pace in behind, with guys like Maida on one wing and Kuhn on the other. I think that if we can hurt them on the counter-attack and we take our chances when they're presented, you don't know which way this game could fall. So that's for me what we need to do. We need to hold tight. I think we need to defend as well as we possibly can, maybe even take a slightly more defensive approach to the game in general, and then hurt them on the counter-attack when the opportunities present themselves. The chances will be few and far between for us. There's no denying that. They will be. Bayern will have the lion's share of the ball, and they will probably have double, maybe treble the chances that Celtic do in the game. But even if we can take a couple of those ones that we do create from counter-attacking scenarios, and chances present themselves to us through mistakes or whatnot, if we can take them, we have every chance. Vincent Kompany's style of football was on show for everybody to see last year at Burnley. Of course, a very attacking-minded manager, hence the reason they were papped straight out the Premier League. But he'd done something to catch the attention of Bayern Munich, a shock appointment, one that I'm still kind of shocked about. Of course, there's a very attacking kind of view in the game, and a lot of similarities to that modern sort of Pep Guardiola style as well. I mean, we brought up Alphonso Davies a moment ago, somebody who under Vincent Kompany you could argue is more an attacking than defensive player, for example. So yeah, they will attack the game. They will throw everything they've got at it. They want to have this game finished for going over to Germany and leave nothing behind, but it's up to us to stop that. So let's hope we do. And we have the group of lads to do so. Here's my starting 11 prediction that I'm going to go with for this game. I feel like the team sort of picks itself, if I'm being quite honest. And I know that there'll be big conversations as to, what is the starting midfield free and what's the starting front free. Should we play Maida through the middle? And I said last night, no, I think that Ida needs to start through the middle. I think that we need that physical presence. I think we need that focal point up front. And I know people will be saying, look how good Maida's been. Yeah, look how good he's been. But he's been mostly good from that left-hand side, so keep him there. Scored a hat-trick against Raith Rovers at the weekend. Fantastic, great. But he's a left winger. He's played left winger for us since he came here. Play him a left wing against Bayern Munich. Don't try anything too adventurous, I think. Who am I, though? I'm not the manager. Brendan Rodgers wants to do it. Go for it. I'm not going to complain about it. I just think on paper, this team picks itself. I think this is our strongest 11 at the minute. And yes, that excludes Jota. But the only reason it excludes Jota is just because I don't know if he's quite there to match the intensity of Bayern Munich yet. He will be in a few weeks, few months' time. But right now is maybe a month or two too early for him to be playing 90 minutes and starting against Bayern. But we'll see what the manager says. I think it's our strongest defence at the minute. I think it's our strongest midfield when it comes to European football. And we have options in the front three with Jota on the bench. So we're in a good place heading into the game. And let's just go out there and give it all we've got. We are the 12th man. That was the starting 11, and I don't mean to get cringy about things, but Celtic Park needs to be the 12th man tomorrow night. It can't be cheer the anthem and sing You'll Never Walk Alone, then sit in our hands for 90 minutes. Even if Bayern go up very early, don't sit quiet. Bring the atmosphere back if we can see an early goal, and that's obviously worst case scenario. Thomas Muller has actually been out this week talking about Celtic and Celtic Park, saying that anyone who underestimates the Scots have never experienced them at Celtic Park. The atmosphere is amazing. It will be a real highlight. So, they know exactly what they're coming over for. I think in recent years, the Celtic Park atmosphere has been criticised for not being as good as it's made out to be. And this is one that we've got to show everybody that it's the best stadium in Europe. It's the best crowd in Europe. It's such an important part of what we want to do tomorrow night. So be there with your loudest voice if you've got a ticket, and cheer on the team, get behind them from the first minute. Whether we score early, they score early. It's just getting behind the team that matters most. Anyway, that does it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. That would be much appreciated. I've yapped, so I'm going to let you go. We'll probably have another wee mini video before the game tomorrow as well. And of course, our match reaction will follow the game tomorrow night. So until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all next time.